Hi, this is Ranadip Madhu. I've come up with another video. This time, the video is on a topic which I think most of us would agree on my thinking process. The topic is the finance department should be independent of public as well as private sector. The finance department of any companies, of any manufacturing plant, of any small scale industry or large scale industry or medium scale industry should be independent, and it should be one unit controlling or taking care of financial transactions of an individual for his or her entire career lifespan. So this is a simple thing, I believe, which everybody would agree with me. And believe me, provident fund should take note of this kind of initiation, because provident fund is something which is independent of private as well as public platform. So provident fund should act in this direction only. They should usher in the idea of one finance department for an individual for his entire career timeline. And believe me, provident fund is doing it, but there are some other part of financial transaction which we call SABF or superannuation benefit fund, which is acting as a like a retirement post retirement benefits. And believe me, they are acting independent of provident fund uh, associations, and because of which there are happening a lot of de-linked transactions, financial transaction, and because of which we are not able to keep a track of entire financial transaction in or out of public sector. And time has come wherein these two units, the provident fund and SABF, superannuation benefit fund, should act together such that whenever a person, an individual or an employee would like to go for some alternative options in his career lifetime, then the entire financial transition can happen very smoothly. Nowadays what happens is that one moment you change or look after, or you get some sort of alternative uh, career opportunities, or have been de-linked from your company, then obviously your entire financial transactions should be transferred from current to next company. And because of which there happens the same sort of monetary related form filling again and again, same sort of questions on the written form being given again and again to each and every department of past employer as well as current employer or the future employer. And this will lead to lot of untoward harassment, mental tensions, all these things happen. And this process should be very smooth. Financial transaction is something which has to be very smooth, otherwise people will try to forget about financial transaction and try to accept or try to go for age old method of business or transaction, which we call barter system or exchange system. Nowadays the exchange system is on the rise. Nowadays people are thinking of exchanging their homes, exchanging their what do you call experiential values, like restaurant with home. So nowadays the age old method of having a facility is being ushered in our system. People have forgot have People have tried to forget about financial transactions, because it is cumbersome, it takes lot of time. And in terms of exchange activities, if you talk about, it is very simple. You exchange your home, you exchange your house, you exchange your quarter. So very simple, very simple. So nowadays the exchange or facility exchange or what do you call non-monetary services are on the rise, because obviously keeping a track of your financial uh, items, financial transactions requires lot of brain usage, acumen, and obviously these calculations are not simple enough. You don't know what is your annual. A simple man like me does not know the annual consumption, or probably I don't know about the monthly consumption of consumption of myself also, because it requires a lot of calculation. And believe me, finance is something which is completely purely education based. Without education you cannot calculate. So nowadays people are trying to move towards non financial transactions, which can be done in the form of exchange activities, being done in the past around 2000 3000 years old, wherein people do not believe in monetary transaction, believing in exchanging of goods and services. Nowadays the same thing has come in our recent 2026 scenario, wherein people are trying to exchange their homes. You must have seen it in videos. So because of which I believe, since people, the normal man, want to lead his life in a simpler way, all his monetary transactions should be taken care by banks. And nowadays we have so many banks opening opportunities, creating more cumbersome in our financial calculations. Because of which, what I believe, that there should be one financial institutions which will be taken care of an individual's finance. And I believe that I'm from science background, the commerce background would be the right people to take care of this situation. Science won't be taking care of the financial transactions. Arts won't be taking care of the financial transactions of an individual. Arts would be just simply thinking about his personal life, his or her personal life. Science will be thinking about its technological upgradations, and commerce will be thinking about financial transactions of himself as well as others. It is their activities. Since commerce only have to take care of all these situations, and because of which there should be one financial institution from commerce side, such that individual finances from company side, in private as well as public side, would be completely taken care of. And believe me, Provident Fund Act has initiated Provident Fund Department, which is independent of any sector, private sector or public sector. They will take care of your entire financial transactions in your entire career. You go to private, it will be simply transferred, or from private to public will be simply transferred. A very simple way. But what I believe, that apart from Provident Fund, there are some other fund also which has to be linked with Provident Fund, like SABF, which is not linked. It is basically company specific. A retirement benefit is definitely a company specific terms and conditions. So what I believe, that in order to reduce, or in fact completely eradicate the harassment which a normal employee tends to face during his entire career, would be reduced if there would be one finance department which is independent of both private as well as public sector, and which is happening partially for last, I think, 30-40 years in the form of Provident Fund. So this is one. So another way, I was just thinking that if Provident Fund is existing for last 30-40 years, and in spite of that we have not able to integrate all the financial transactions of an individual in his her career timeline, how are these financial transactions not being linked to Provident Fund account being connected, and why they are not trying to connect with the same individual like Provident Fund? So this question was like giving me some sort of like highly give me an inclination that this kind of things should not be uh, associated with our financial transactions. Why? Provident fund is also finance, monetary, money related, as and SABF, other things are also money related. But why these two things or two or three things are not linked to each other? It is targeting a same individual for his entire career timeline. Why it is not happening? So people tend to say that SABF is something is like post retirement schemes. After retirement only you will be getting the benefit, and prior to that you will not be getting the benefit. So that money is basically connected to your post retirement activities, and because of which we are not linking with your provident fund. So anyway, this sort of erratic solutions or irrationality will get to know again and again when you are trying to see the reasons behind not linking those or two or three financial elements to each other. So anyway, so this is the idea that individual monetary transactions should be connected with one institution, one finance department for one individual, independent of public as well as private sector, such that the entire transition can happen very smoothly. Immediately a person can join in, and all those like activities prior to joining, which we say that induction program, all this can be easily eradicated, isn't it? And it will create less chaotic situation in our entire professional as well as personal life, because when there will be a transition in between, then there would be a chaotic situation in your personal space also, which we have to avoid anyway, and it is not very easy to do so. So that's it. And then I try to understand, is there any other way through which this kind of things, apart from Provident Fund Act or department, is there any other department which is doing it very silently in our society? And then I've realized I was in IIM Kozhikode in 2013. So therein one placement company came, PFC, Power Finance Corporation, a government Maharatna company. And that time, since I am not from finance background, so I didn't go for that go for that job. So all of a sudden that company name came into my mind, and I started searching about PFC. The PFC actually does the same thing. It acts as a conglomerate for financial transactions for entire power and infrastructure companies. Power infrastructure, Power Finance Corporation. So primarily power companies only. NTPC is there, Indian Renewable Energy is there, and infrastructure, if you, I think PWD would be there. So it takes care of the financial transactions of the entire comets of companies, specifically in power sector as well as infrastructure. If you power sector, it is NTPC, Indian Renewable Energy, and infrastructure, PWD. Government, these are all government sectors, government companies. So silently this company PFC is doing the same performance which I am talking about. One finance department or company taking care of all the rest of the company's financial transactions, which include individual transaction also as well as company's transaction also. So silently this company is doing for past I think 1980s, last 30-40 years. And believe me, this sort of structure was there in our society, but some way or the other, due to change in government ideologies over the years, for last 30-40 years, this method of doing or analyzing or scrutinizing financial transactions of an individual by one company, this ideology has been completely removed from our society. Nowadays what happens is, the moment you change or get a switch over or looking for alternative opportunities, you have to go through the same procedure for financial transactions record linkage also. very pathetic in situation, and I believe that the time has come wherein this kind of company, PFC, or we can make a UFC, Universal Finance Corporation, which will take care of all the financial transactions of an individual of Indian citizen only, such that moment a citizen move here and there, switch over or do whatever they de-link or linking, this is entire transaction, financial transaction can happen very smoothly. So that's all, just an eye opener to all the finance institution. We have so many banks, and do you believe me, what is the use of all those banks nowadays in an era of online? One bank is sufficient, right? Had it been offline method, then we could have numerous banks. Why there should be so many banks? One bank is sufficient. Everything is online. We have ATM machine. If we talk about State Bank of India's ATM machine is a nook and corner of our country. Why do you need another bank? Isn't it? So in an era of online form, everything should be clustered in one category. Otherwise, there will be so many categories, and you will be completely confused about all those features which you have, and sometimes you forget and you tend to completely eliminate subconsciously. So anyway, whatever could be the reason, so in an era of online, everything should be categorized in one form in financial transaction. Otherwise, there will be so many branches of financial transaction which resulting in loss of track of those financial transaction as well. So anyway, just an eye opener. I believe my audience well wishers have understood, and I believe the financial institution, if can look at this ideology or listen to this ideology, they can obviously move in this direction, and in the future they will come up with one finance department for one individual in India. So you have understood that we should have one finance department for one individual. Now I have forgot about one financial institution which is called income tax department. So you can understand that is income tax department which is targeting individual annually, and that income tax department is not linking rest of the departments, provident fund department, SABF department, or some other departments which we call which are supplementary services being given to various youth and aged people. So those are senior citizen financial help, class 10 pass out student financial help, female assistant financial help. So all these financial transactions should be integrated. So you can understand there are so many financial institutions transactions happening in and around an individual only, but those institutions are not at all linked to each other. Income tax department, provident fund department, SABF department, then Shastro Shati, not Shastro Shati, Jubo Shati for class 10 pass out student, financial assistant, female financial assistants, and all other financial assistants for senior citizens as well. These financial transactions are not being linked to each other, and because of which we are losing track of an individual's financial transactions. And moment whenever we are doing a switch over from one private to public or public to private, there happens a re-linkage in the form of form filling, online or offline, whatever it may be, and it creates a lot of tension in our life. So I believe that time has come wherein there should be one finance department taking care of all these financial transactions for an individual, and if this can be done, then our entire life of an individual would become very simpler. So that's all. I believe that you have enjoyed the entire video, and if you do so, please subscribe my channel Ronnie's Identity in YouTube, and stay tuned for more updates and videos in the future. I wish you nice day. Bye.